Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? And why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it." And Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." And it happened that when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. God speaks again, and, as with Adam, his voice does not come to condemn, but to ask. "Why are you like this?" he says to Cain. Grace always begins with a question, not an accusation. God does not judge, he confronts. The question is not seeking information, but reflection. Cain's fallen face shows not guilt, but anger. He's not sad because he failed. He's furious because his system was challenged. He cannot bear that God did not accept his way, and his frustration turns into resentment. When the religious heart gets angry with God, it ends up attacking what God loves. God offers you a way out. If you do well, you will be exalted. There is still time. There is still opportunity. The Lord shows you that acceptance is not gained through comparison, but through correction. It's not about competing with Abel, but about aligning the heart. The message is clear. I do not ask for perfection, I ask for direction. But Cain does not listen. He prefers to hold on to his anger, rather than surrender his pride. Then comes a deep warning. Sin is crouching at the door. The text depicts sin as a living force, waiting to enter. It is not inside yet. It is lurking, waiting for anger to open the door. Sin feeds on unresolved resentment. It no longer needs to speak, like the serpent in Eden. Now the internal desire does its work. Cain becomes his own temptation. Evil no longer comes from outside. It is born from the heart that refuses to be dealt with by God. God, however, reminds him of something essential. You will rule over it. He reminds him that he still has authority. Despite the fall, man retains the ability to decide. God does not see him as a slave to evil, but as someone who can still master it. It is the divine declaration of trust in humanity. Sin wants to rule you, but you can overcome it. Cain is not condemned to fall. He has the power to master his desire if he obeys the voice of the Spirit. But instead of responding, Cain walks away. He says to his brother, "Let's go out to the field." The field is not a geographical detail. It is the symbol of the human terrain, of the place where man works and feels in control. There, away from the altar, where God had spoken, Cain acts. The religious always carry the battle outside the spiritual realm. They need their own ground to exercise control. And in the field, the effort system kills the system of faith. Cain kills Abel, not only out of envy, but because grace becomes intolerable to him. The brother's sacrifice confronted him with everything he did not want to admit, that without faith there is no communion, and without dependence there is no redemption. The first human murder was not for hunger, territory, or power. It was for worship. It was the clash between two ways of relating to God, self-sufficiency and faith. Since then, human history repeats the same tension. Every time religion without the cross feels exposed, it tries to silence the spirit of grace. God observes in silence. He does not interrupt the act. He respects the freedom he granted. But the blood of the righteous will not be silent. The cry that will rise from the earth will be the announcement of the plan of redemption, the voice of the innocent crying out for justice. Cain did not know that his story would be a mirror for all centuries. Because every time man gets angry with divine correction and lets resentment rule, he repeats his path. And every time someone chooses the altar of Abel, the altar of faith and dependence, the history of the kingdom begins again. God does not abandon the fallen. He asks questions that awaken them. Sin lives inside. It waits for you to open the door. Unresolved anger turns into spiritual destruction. But God's voice continues to say, you can master it. The field where Cain killed Abel still exists. It is the place where human effort kills grace. And the blood crying out from the ground announces what will happen one day. The perfect blood that will speak better than Abel's, bringing forgiveness where there was only condemnation before.